One of the most fundamental teachings in unity metaphysics is the law of mind action. The law of mind action is what we think about, we bring about. And most often I will write it up or put it up on the screen like this: mind, idea, expression. From the mind of God, we get ideas, we're inspired to take action, and then we have expression. But sometimes I like to elongate it so we make sure we hit all the steps of the law. And that's idea, thought, putting attention to it, getting that impulse to action, and then creating a result. The law of mind action is the law of creation, and it's working all the time. Good, bad, right, wrong. The law of mind action is always at play. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a canyon, and what you say comes back to you, because that's how it begins. It begins with that idea. So we're standing at the edge of the canyon, and we say, I am good, and we hear, I am good, I am good, I am good, I am good, I am good. It feels pretty good. But let's say we're standing at the edge of another canyon, and we say, I am poor. No, don't do that. Don't do that. In fact, cancel, because you actually heard it. It's already starting a resonance, a vibration. Because another facet of the metaphysical law is whatever word we speak, whatever intention we hold, is that very beginning, that birthing of what result we're going to create in our lives. Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, wrote that when we add the power of our voice to an intention that we're holding, we draw to us that invisible power of the universe. So when we speak a word, we're sending out a frequency, a vibration, and we're inviting the universe to respond to us. So imagine that each word is a vibration, is a frequency, and therefore a musical note. So each word has its own musical note, just like our human spiritual soul has our own soul note. Each word has that frequency and that vibration. So as we can play with it, because there's going to be some words that it doesn't matter if you're an A note or an E note or a D sharp note. It doesn't matter what your soul note is. There are going to be some words that we have a natural greater affinity for. So I'm going to play by saying a word, and then you're going to sing your response back. Whatever note you're inspired to sing back. So we'll start with one, like I said, greater affinity. I'm going to say love. Love. Yeah, see how you could find a note really easily. So I'm going to say sunshine. Sunshine. Springtime. Springtime. Roller coasters. Roller coasters. Well, you said blue, but I said whoa. Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts. Poetry. Poetry. Chemistry. Chemistry. Bylaws. Yeah, so regardless of what our note is that we resonate with and what our response is to that note, it doesn't matter, because I love bylaws. I love bylaws. Bylaws are my friend. So I'm going to go, bylaws. And somebody else is going to go, bylaws. But whatever key that note is the one that's going to begin that harmonic series, that harmonic frequency that's going to go out and resonate in our world. I've been fascinated with this physical process called harmonic series. It's actually a physics term. It's a scientific term, harmonic series. When a note is uttered or sung, then all these other notes will follow after it. It's like we think sometimes if we sing one note, we get that one note right back. If I sing a note of generosity, tit for tat, I want to get that generosity right back. If I pay you a delicious, glorious, generous compliment, I'm going to go on there and TikTok. Give it back. Give it back right now. I just said something nice. You say something nice back. Tit for tat, but there's actually a really whole, complex range of notes that follows from one word. One word there at the beginning. Look at that. 20 notes. It's physics. It's physics that explain the metaphysics of what's really happening with the law of mind action. And I know that that's a lot of notes. Don't let your eyes glaze over yet. At all, if you can possibly help it. Because the first 8 notes are 7 intervals. And 7, metaphysically, is the number for spiritual perfection. It's the number for divine perfection. So if we just looked at the first 7 intervals, we're going to get to see what overtones are created just by singing one note. And I've got it up there visually 2 different ways, because some people need the piano keys and some people need the notes written down on the paper, on the music. So the first note that we sing, that's here. But the second note that comes in the harmonic series is exactly 1 octave above. So yes, we actually do hear the same thing back, but we hear it at a different pitch. And then the third note above that is a 5th. So that 5th becomes the dominant harmonic. It becomes the dominant harmonic out of all the notes that will follow, which is amazing in itself, because if we think of the entirety of life as a circle, in a circle there are 12 fifths. 12, the number of disciples that Jesus had. 12, the number that spiritually means the number of experiences or regenerations we need to have on our way and our journey to higher consciousness. Metaphysically, 12 means the number of fulfillment. So there are 12 fifths. Charles Fillmore wrote about 12 powers of man. Those today in Unity we would say the 12 faculties, or the 12 abilities, or our 12 capacities within our entire being. We have faith, we have love, we have will, we have understanding, we have imagination, we have wisdom, we have order, we have zeal, we have power, we have elimination, and we have life, all within us, perfectly fulfilled. And those 12 powers, those 12 faculties become our dominant harmonic. Isn't this amazing? Stay with me, because after that 5th is a perfect 4th, which takes us right back into that octave note. So now we're hearing our word, the tone of our word at 3 different pitches, plus that 5th. And the next note after that is a perfect 3rd, which makes the most beautiful chord. 1, 3, 5. Isn't that like, it's perfect, perfect, perfect. It's perfect harmony. It's what makes us feel good when we have a word or an intention and we start to recognize that we've added our attention and it's starting to fill out and unfold in our life. That 1, 3, 5. But the next note is a minor 3rd. And it's almost like a shadow in our mind or a shadow in our life. And I believe, really, if you think about scary music, almost all scary music is written in a minor chord. I think it's the universe saying, are you sure? Are you sure that this is the note that you want to sing? Are you sure that this is the intention you want to bring? The 7th note is one of the most exciting notes if you think about barbershop music, because that 7th is that off note that's just almost right there that resolves to the 8th note. And the 8th note is yet again another octave. So you see how physically this harmonic series represents the metaphysics of us using the power of our voice, the power of our intention. And it doesn't matter if we're holding a good thought or a bad thought, a right thought or a wrong thought, the law is going to work. So if our note is in a key belief of lack, then the harmonic series that we're creating in our lives is going to be one of lack. If the key belief that we're holding is that life isn't fair, the harmonic series in our life is going to unfold as injustice. In the book of Luke, Jesus, before we go to the book of Luke, I would be remiss if I did not share this information with you. Our note will manifest to the degree of our clarity of pitch and the energy of our consciousness. So if we are singing a very clear note, we will be able to recognize the results of that clear intention. But if we are singing a muddy note, a note that doesn't have clear boundaries or doesn't have a 100% intention with clarity, then what we're going to be hearing back and what the results that we're going to be seeing in our lives are that mishmash or that cacophony of sound. And if we don't have an energy with our note, if we whisper our note, or if we sing our note like, I think this is it. I really don't like Brussels sprouts, but I'm going to try to make you happy. Could we please have artichokes, which I really love? If we are tentative or hesitant about what our note really is, then that's the result that's going to come back to us. Now, Jesus said in the book of Luke, the good person out of the good treasure of his heart produces good, and the evil person out of his evil treasure produces evil. For out of the abundance of the heart his mouth speaks. I went to college in Los Angeles. I attended the University of Southern California, which was right in the heart of the city. And when I came across this story the other day about police brutality, I could relate to it. I could see that it happened. There was about a man and a woman. They were friends. And the man was continually getting pulled over by the police and given a hard time for the crime of riding his bicycle while being a black man, which is, in their estimation, only slightly less of a crime than driving a vehicle while being a white man. And so the friends, every time this happened, they'd get together and they were like, this is horrible, this is awful, police brutality, police insensitivity. And they got so spun up that they began calling the policemen names. Like, there goes another, yeah, and there goes another, And so eventually this woman, who was actually white, got pulled over by 2 black cops for riding her bicycle at night without a light. And because she had started metaphysical studies, she got to see, I was like, oh, I see the connection between the thoughts that I've been holding and the attention I've been giving them and the result that I'm creating in my life. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to sing a new song. She thought about King David and this song, oh, sing to the Lord a new song, sing to the Lord all the earth, sing to the Lord, bless his name, tell of his salvation from day to day. And the salvation that she was giving herself was singing a different note. So every time she saw a police officer, and she felt like there was one on every corner, or driving by in a patrol car, she sent a prayer to that policeman or that policewoman. And she said, I'm holding for you that you can make wise decisions. I'm holding for you that you are bringing safety to everyone you encounter. I'm holding for you that lives are touched and people are changed because of your kindness and your justice. It took her a couple of months, and pretty soon she recognized she wasn't seeing any police anywhere. She ends the story by writing, I don't know if those police lives were ever changed by my prayer, but I do know that mine was. That my life was changed because of my prayer. She began to sing a new song. I'd like to teach the world a song in perfect harmony. So let's talk about multiple voices from multiple people with multiple words in multiple times. Because I think that how we come together in harmony is equally as important as all of those notes come in one song. So imagine barbershop quartets, if you will. Barbershop singing is an American tradition. It grew out of barbershops truly in the South with African Americans beginning to sing without notes, without music written down. They actually, barbershop reaches back to a time before in the past where music was never written down on a piece of paper and instruments were only tuned to each other. So before the Middle Ages, before the Renaissance, when symphonies began to be composed and written down and precision was important. Like, have you ever been to a symphony concert? I don't know if you have, but what happens is you're sitting there in the audience and nobody's talking because that's impolite, and the orchestra comes and they sit on the stage and the oboe begins to play an A note. And they play that A note and every other instrument in the orchestra tunes themselves with precision to that A note. And then they're all on the same page, right? And if you go to a symphony orchestra concert, you can just have the most amazing experience. It can be transcendent, it can be ethereal, it can be ecstatic, it can be any of all those things. But you know what? So can a rock concert. And so can a country trio, because those notes are performed from exactly the same key, in exactly the same way, played in exactly the same time. So it's played with what's called even temperament. Even temperament is actually a technical term. Whereas in barbershop singing, the voices in that barbershop quartet or that barbershop, however many, if it's a big chorus, are tuned to each other. They're taking their own soul note. The voice is actually very flexible as an instrument. It's kind of like a Native American flute. You can play all the notes in between just the precise ones you see on a piano keyboard. You can play all the notes in between. Tibetan bowls are played with notes that are tuned in between all of the precise notes. Our voice can be tuned to each other. It's a technical thing called just tuning. Not like just only tuning, but just like true tuning. Just like justice tuning. Just like righteousness. Just like the kingdom of heaven. And when a barbershop gets together and those voices are tuned together, they're called fitted. And when the voices are fitted, they lock in a sound, and those four voices actually produce a fifth note. So if we're listening, we're like 1, 2, 3, 4. But we're listening and we're hearing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A lot of times if you watch barbershop competitions, they make it that big final note, and they go to from the 7th, and then they hit that chord, and then all of a sudden you're like, you hear this ringing tone way up there, or it's an undertone and it's way down there, and you're like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But what I'm hearing is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus is quoted as saying, the kingdom of heaven is between us. And I like to think that that fifth note is the kingdom of heaven that's between us. So that when my soul note and my word are spoken, and your soul note and your word are spoken, and your soul note and your word is spoken, we are creating a harmony that is beyond comprehension. It's like physics can't touch it. Physics can't touch it because it's God. It's God that's between us. So now I'm going to ask some really hard questions. What note are you holding? What note are you locked into with other people? And what would it be like if your relationships were those that co-created the kingdom of heaven between you? What would that be like? What would it be like if here at Unity of Wilmington or whatever spiritual community that you're in, what would it be like if we co-created that fifth note every time we got together? Take a breath. Those are big questions. And Reverend Nikki is going to address them next week. going to talk about them next week. I was given a quote from Abraham that came out this last Wednesday, and it says this. It says this. Would you click the next one, please? Thank you. There is so much going on around us, and as a result, so much happening in our vibrational atmosphere, which always provides powerful insights, as well as relief and a sense of true motion forward. Sort of like we were all born to experience these powerful times. And I believe that to be true. We were all born to experience these powerful times. It's part of our holy purpose to be here on the planet, in Wilmington or wherever we are in our Facebook world. But we are, by divine appointment, right where we're supposed to be, born to be in these powerful times. And if this is something that you are interested in stepping into, if this is a curiosity that has hooked your interest, if you are ready to use your imagination to be in discovery, to open up your mind and heart and say, I wonder what I can do to lock in, to fit with the other voices that I'm in the room with, or that I'm in community with, or that I'm in a nation with. I wonder how I can do that in a way that's going to co-create that fifth note, that kingdom of heaven between us. So if you're interested in that, and knowing that you're born at this time, would you please say this affirmation with me? Knowing that I was born to experience these powerful times, I am open to co-creating with the kingdom of heaven between us. We're going to sing a song about opening that's going to help us go into meditation. So yes, if you're willing, do begin opening now, discovering that desire, that wonder, that ability to let your imagination fly.
Your heart is ready to receive. Are you willing to receive all the love that is available to you? Love that allows you to breathe into, fill up your entire body and allow it to radiate forth in, through, and as you. And from that love, are you ready to receive the abundance of life force energy that is you, that you were created in and as? And from love and life coming together, are you willing and ready to receive the wisdom of the universe that lives within you, calling forth right action? Forth, magnetizing to you all that you would perceive as the kingdom of heaven, and to allow it to be between each of us, to allow the disharmony to resolve into harmony, to allow the notes to bring our unique gifts together, what am I opening to? Am I opening to my own magnificence and seeing the magnificence of others? Am I opening to who I want to be, the way I want to live? Or is there some other step, some expansion that I'm looking for? And am I willing to open to that expansion so I stand fully in the power of love, the power of life, the power of wisdom? What am I opening to? As we sing together,